Hey, what's your stud name?
Flame.
And what's your real name?
Sarah.
Hey, what's your stud name? What's your stud name?
Biggs, bro.
Biggs. And what's your real name?
Ivory.
Ivory. Hey, what's your stud name?
I'm Sushi Blanco.
And what's your real name?
Christina.
Hey, what's your stud name?
Such.
And what's your real name?
Taj Renata.
Hey, what's your stud name?
BB.
And what's your real name?
Brittany.
What's your stud name?
Epic.
Epic. And what's your real name?
Brittany.
Brittany. What's your stud name?
Lane Wiz.
And what's your real name?
Elena.
Elena. Hey, what's your stud name?
B count.
And what's your real name?
Randy Lachey.
Hey, what's your stud name?
My stud name Marley.
Marley.
Yeah.
And what's your real name?
Brenda.
Brenda. What's your stud name?
D.
D. And what's your real name?
Deja.
Deja.
Guide you, lead you, somebody that you can actually build a foundation with, get some genuine chemistry going. Y'all not looking for that. Y'all are out here looking for somebody to help you. Y'all are out here looking for a sponsor, somebody to sponsor your lifestyle. Because I'm trying to understand, when did it become a man's responsibility to even give you anything during the dating phase? A man is not responsible for your monthly bills in the dating phase. You're not his woman. And what makes you think that a man does not have his own bills? His own responsibilities. That is why a lot of you ladies cannot enjoy the dating phase, because you are out here dating for all the wrong reasons. When you are dating somebody, it should really only be about just seeing if you and this person got a connection. Can we build together? Are we on the same page? Do we got the same beliefs, the same values? Something along those lines. But y'all get so frustrated. Well, he keep texting me, what you doing? And he ain't asking me how much is my rent and my car note. That's not his problem. A real man is not getting ready to lead with his money. Only an insecure man lead with his money. There is some man that will give you money in the first couple of months, but that's a man that don't know himself. A man that knows himself, he's going to find out a turnoff that you're even asking him for money. Allow that man to give you that good gesture. A man that is genuinely interested in you, he's going to see any type of weight that he can lift off of you, so you wouldn't have to ask to begin with. But if you ladies are out here drowning in your own monthly bills like that, to the point where you frustrated and can't date somebody for the genuine reasons, then you shouldn't be dating. Just straight. A man can't text you.
For the 5-day work week, you better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time. You better thank unions for that 5-day work week. Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time. You better thank a union member. For the 5-day work week, you better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time. You better thank unions for that 5-day work week. Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time. You better thank a union. That's the nature of who we are as Americans.
Say the line, Bart.
We can see what is possible unburdened by what has been. That's the nature of who we are as Americans.
Well, we back. I'll Istimulate My Podcast, episode number 8. When we doing the top 5, we're going to do media reporters. Top 5 black worst media reporters. And we going to get this show out of the way. You know what I'm saying? We already did the little intro, little videos. But number 5, Abby Phillips. And the reason why Abby Phillips get number 5, let me take it in here. I love Abby Phillips. She's beautiful and everything, but they use that sister as CNN to basically interview the black people and try to talk over them, and I don't like none of that. Like, every time you see Abby Phillips interview a black person or black man, it's like they try to demasculate them on air, over talk them, don't let them get a word in, try to misinterpret their points. For instance, they had her interview Cameron on Diddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you interview Diddy? I'm just saying. Number 5, Abby Phillips.
Dr. Carson, should Trump, or would you support Trump prosecuting President Biden?
I think in his speech yesterday or the day before, that he took a more conciliatory tone and recognizes that the problems that face us right now are enormous. And we could spend a lot of time going after people, or we could address those problems. I think we've already seen that President Trump is not a highly vindictive individual, and that he didn't go after Hillary after he was elected in 2016.
President Trump, you're saying President Trump is not a highly vindictive people. He's literally pledged to prosecute to Joe Biden. He said he would do that. He said he would go after people who wronged him.
I always have a tendency to look and see what people do, not so much what they say, particularly in the heat of a political environment.
Trump, Dr. Carson, talks about getting revenge almost every day on social media. I mean, really, just days ago. I mean, should voters not take that seriously? Should voters have to wait until he's actually president to find out if that's going to happen?
Most recently, you have heard him say that the things that face us right now are so pressing that he's not going to have time to be vindictive.
He said he's not going to have time to be a dictator, which is an interesting thing to say. Dr. Ben Carson, thank you.
I said to be vindictive.
To be vindictive as well. Dr. Ben Carson, thank you very much.
This is funny. Here we go.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, is there something known in the industry about how Diddy treated his artists?
So I'm gonna get some cheeks after this horsepower joint. I'm just going off what Mace said. Mace took me to Biggie. I don't really know Puffers like Mace know Puff. So I appreciate what Mace said, and of course that's my brother. So if he felt that way, then he felt that way. I can't really tell you.
Okay, this is a clip from
that. I mean, is there something known in the industry about how Diddy treated his artists?
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
Pointed out that Diddy couldn't get away with this stuff if there weren't a lot of people protecting him. Do you think that's the case?
Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy do and all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint that y'all invited me to. Who booked me for this joint?
All right.
Wow, and I don't be sitting around watching Diddy and all that. Yeah,
thanks.
Man, come on, man.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Insinuate. That is what people are trying to weave into what I said. What I said is crystal clear. It's on my social media. Go to @ByronDonalds on X. You can see the full clip. Abby, I appreciate you playing the full clip. What you are dealing with right now is a political environment where now anything I might say or any major surrogate might say is going to be twisted into the lens of race. That was never the point, not the idea whatsoever.
I mean, just to clarify my questioning of you,
Sure.
I mean, I understand that this idea that you said it was better, you didn't use the words better. But when you talk about that time period, you're suggesting that because the black family was together, they were better off than they are now.
See, this is the problem, Abby.
So are you saying that that's not the
Abby,
case? That the black family was not better off
I did
when
not
they
say
were,
that.
in your
Abby,
words, together?
Abby, let me put it to you like this.
In the Jim Crow era.
Let's agree on something. I am, obviously one of the better communicators in the Republican Party. I know how to put words together. I do it very, very often. So I'm not going to say something that I do not agree with. What America is seeing right now, especially Black America, is the gaslighting that unfortunately does happen in politics, where you take my comments and you want to weave your own political viewpoint into what I said. What I said is very clear.
I asked you to explain
hold on now.
because I wanted to,
I
want to undo is understand what you're saying here. Because if you're making a comparison, you're saying the Black family was together then, they're not together now, and you're using that to try to say that things are bad now. Well, first of all, let me just to set the table here. By pretty much every available measure, Black families, Black individuals in this country are better off today than they were during Jim Crow. Would you agree with that?
Abby, of course I would. I'm not making that point, and this is the problem. What the Democrats, what Hakeem Jeffries did on the House floor, what Jamie Harrison, what the president of the NAACP, what the Biden campaign, because they're the ones who started this, it was really the Biden campaigns who were trying to cherry pick everything. They're trying to twist my words into saying something. I never said that. What I was talking about was specifically Black families. And the point that Black families being together is a great thing for the Black community. And you do have to acknowledge the empirical fact that before Lyndon Johnson's policies and the welfare state that was created in the United States, I'm not talking about good, bad, or indifferent.
But what about
Black families were, Black marriage rates were significantly higher.
Well, what about
They're
other
rising
things that
again
might
in
have,
America. That's a good thing. We should celebrate
things that may have contributed to the, maybe the decline in marriage rates, which, by the way, is not unique to Black families. That's happening actually across racial groups.
All right, we back, y'all. Y'all seen the video from Abby Phillips. You know what I'm saying? CNN do better. Let her be a real journalist like Dana Bash been doing over there. But y'all use her to, you know what I'm saying, for your own reasons. And once again, I want y'all to watch these videos. You know what I'm saying? These are script reading puppets. You know what I'm saying? They always looking down. Now, I'm looking at y'all right now. When I look down at something, y'all know I'm looking down at something. And when I look down at something, I'm just looking down at something I've written down to make sure I say it and I don't leave it out. But okay. Just like the comment she was looking. Looking down. But anyway, number 4, we're going to get Rachel Scott. And that's another beautiful sister they use as a tool, but they use her mainly to attack Trump. They use her at ABC just to go at Trump. But she is a little firecracker. She do little stuff, like, for example, the Nancy Pelosi video. But number 4, worst media reporters, Rachel Scott at ABC.
What you said this morning.
I'm not having any conversations with you or anybody else about what I talked to the president about, with all due respect.
Do you believe that?
I never do, so it's nothing new.
I understand, Madam Speaker. Do you believe that him waiting so long to make this decision could harm the party?
I'm not making any comments in the hallway about the fate of our nation, okay?
Are you concerned whether or not he can win in November?
I think he can.
Do you believe he should run for re-election?
Am I speaking English to you? I'm not going to be making any statements about any of that right now in the hallway.
Donald Trump at the NABJ, and he's being interviewed by Rachel Scott of ABC. And let me tell you, Rachel Scott has hated Trump for a long time now. And this isn't the first time these two have met.
So appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
Certainly a time to shine in a crowded field, Eva. And speaking of a time to shine, can we just take a moment this morning? This is Rachel's first time on GMA. She's been part of our ABC family for several years now, but we are so happy to have you working with us now. Welcome to the team, Rachel.
Excited to be here. Thank you, Eva.
Rachel would then go on to be used by liberal media to go after Donald Trump during the COVID crisis.
10 states hit a record number of new coronavirus cases. ABC's Rachel Scott joins us with more. Rachel, good morning.
So I asked the president, is this sufficient funding to help struggling businesses?
If tens of billions of dollars went in a matter of days the first time, will this next relief package be enough?
Certainly, it's going to get us to a point that's going to be rather beautiful. We think that that will be the point, and it could be they want more, but maybe at a certain point we're going to stop.
Leader McCarthy said they're now considering also adding more funding for hospitals.
I'm with that all the way. If they want to add hospitals, we could also add it into phase 4 if we do a phase 4.
Nearly 10% of the loans that were given out were for $5 million, but some small business owners say they can't even get a loan for $100,000. Is that acceptable?
Well, they would get that, but they have to approve it. Nobody knew it was going to be this successful. It's been a tremendous success. It's been executed flawlessly.
If legal action is brought against you on this, why not just work with Congress on this deal?
Well, I'm not saying they're not going to come back and negotiate. They might very well come back and negotiate.
President, when will this relief get in the hands of Americans that need it? What date?
We think it's going to be very rapid. We want it to be very rapid. It's going to be distributed in a way that, whichever the fastest way, there are various methods, and it will be rapidly distributed.
But you're signing an executive order today, and Americans want to know when they're going to see this relief.
Very soon. They're going to see it very soon. Look.
Very soon. 30 million Americans are out of work, sir.
Excuse me. There it is right there. Leave for an emergency phone call. I'm going to let Scott and Larry finish that. Larry's going to talk about so I'll be back. I will see you tomorrow.
Mr. President, just one more question on Breonna Taylor. We're at a time right now where Americans feel like we are on this carousel.
I have a big
Mr.
call.
President, just one more question if I can on Breonna Taylor. People are protesting in the streets. What is your message to them? People feel like we are on this carousel where another black life is being taken.
So here we have Dr. Scott Atlas and
Rachel even wore blue during her interview with Donald Trump at the NABJ convention.
But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do?
Tonight, in an often contentious forum before the National Association of Black Journalists, former President Donald Trump challenging Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity. It came after I asked Trump about his supporters' attacks on Harris as a, quote, DEI hire. DEI being short for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
Harris is
Became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
Harris is both the first black woman and the first Asian American to serve as vice president. She graduated from Howard University, is a member of a historically black sorority, and when she was elected senator, she joined the Congressional Black Caucus. Tonight, the White House calling Trump's words insulting.
What you just read out to me
is repulsive, it's insulting, and, you know, no one has any right to tell someone who they are.
I also asked Trump about his pledge to pardon those convicted in the January 6th riot.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely. Sure. You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day, like about 5 days ago.
Trump then talking about the recent anti-Israel protests in Washington, protesters defacing monuments. But I asked him again, would he pardon the January 6 rioters convicted of assaulting police officers?
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system.
David, tonight the Harris campaign is not directly responding to those attacks from former President Donald Trump on Harris's racial identity, but they did release this statement saying, quote, the hostility Donald Trump showed on stage today is the same hostility he has shown throughout his life, throughout his term in office, and throughout his campaign for president. They add, Trump has already proven he cannot unite America, so he attempts to divide us. David.
Rachel Scott, among the moderators asking the questions today. Rachel, thank you.
Rachel, you were at the rally on Saturday reporting for ABC News when the attempted assassination happened. Tell us what it was like to be there and what you experienced. Were you scared? Did you hear the noise? What happened?
Yeah, Joy, it was terrifying. And to be honest with you, it's something that I'm still processing right now, 72 hours later. You know, we walked into that rally and one of our campaign embeds pointed out just the short distance that we were to the former president. Our press riser was just about 100 feet away from where the former president was speaking at the podium. We were up on the press riser, had just finished doing World News Tonight, and I was standing there, and then all of a sudden you just hear these popping sounds. Pop, 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 pop. It's almost like you thought it was a firecracker or something. And then everyone in the crowd started screaming, started yelling, shots fired, get down, get down. I encouraged my colleague next to me from CBS to get down on the ground. My security yanked me down off the press riser, and that's when we took cover. I had an incredible colleague from NBC, Jake Traylor, who shielded me in those moments. And in those moments, there's so many things that go through your head, right? I mean, it maybe was only a couple of seconds, but it felt like time really slowed down, and you start playing this what if game. What if there's a gunman on the loose? What if there was someone walking through the crowd? Is someone shooting from overhead? Is this in fact gunfire, what we're hearing? And I will tell you, I've covered almost every single rally that Donald Trump has had this election cycle. You feel so safe going to rallies with the former president because of the amount of Secret Service and law enforcement presence that is there. And so just to have something like this unfold was almost unthinkable. We're often responding to things after they already happen. I've certainly covered mass shootings after they've happened, but never before have I been involved in an active shooter scenario. Little girls and women of color all across this nation who have felt counted out, who have felt like they have not been represented in politics, who have been told to just stand by and wait their turn, that will now feel like they have a seat at the table. And that is what makes this moment so much larger than politics, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much.
So